Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings everywhere on planet Earth, and as was pointed out, ironically by Tabitha, Martians and aliens. You never know, they might pick up YouTube in outer space somewhere and think, what the hell is this? What's a like? What's a click? What's a... Today's video is going to be probably a bit longer, I don't know, and a bit all over the place on lots of different subjects. Because last night I had a fascinating conversation with my son, his girlfriend and one of his friends. So I'm talking to a couple of 18-year-olds and a 19-year-old, putting the world to rights and discussing things, amongst other things, the Markle situation, the past illness, the global illness and the global cure, and defending communities like the LGBT and what they think of it. And it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I'm sure a lot of you will take heart. They're not buying it. They are not buying any of it. So please don't think that all younger, more inexperienced, naive kids are going along with a lot of nonsense. And from what I hear from them when they talk to me about their friends and their family, they can see straight through people like Markle. They hate Instagrammers that make them feel bad or pretend their lives are perfect. They know that it's fake. They know an awful lot. In fact, I'd go as far as to say they know a lot more than probably a lot of us, because they're in on the technology and they figured things out way before we did. But then you add to that, they do watch channels like this, and they do watch channels of older people. They also then add that life experience to what they're learning at the moment. So I've got faith that the next generation coming up, people like Markle won't be able to get away with the things they've done. I saw a heartbreaking video this morning with Neil Sean, heartbreaking, that he says, he always has to say allegedly for a legal reason, but he said from an impeccable source, told him that the late Majesty watched the Oprah interview and it made her cry. And that breaks my heart and makes me quite angry, actually. But let's go with positivity, all right, guys, and try and figure some stuff out together. Because I believe that what has created a lot of the monsters that we have in our society today is AI, artificial intelligence. I cannot emphasize how much I loathe and detest bots and AI. I want to spill water on them. I want to rip their batteries out. AI is supposed to be there for the benefit of mankind. It is not supposed to be there to be our masters and controllers. And it has warped the minds of some human beings to the point where if social media says so, it's like Simon says, a lot of people go along with it. Fortunately, a lot of people are waking up and realizing, and they're very good at divide and rule, AI, and they are learning. When they say machine learning, do not underestimate that. They've tested out quite a few things on us as social experiments, and they thought, oh, human beings don't like that. Okay, we'll drop that one. Oh yeah, human beings are dead emotional. Oh yes, we can go with that one. And we're now living in a back to front, upside down society. Add to that celebrities and influencers and people like Markle who use bots to give the impression that they have millions of fans, which are just bots, to trick human beings into thinking, you know, it's just me, I'm the only one, I don't like her. I mean, I think now we're overwhelmingly getting the message across to the bots. But these kids last night, they pointed quite a lot of things out to me. The illness and the lockdowns, we were discussing all of that. This video is not really about that, but this is just an example. As I recall at the time, the World Health Organization were very reluctant to call it a pandemic. Much to the frustration of me, Graham, and a lot of other people. We thought, you know, if it's serious, call it. We thought any lockdown would be 2 weeks, 4 weeks max, while they all got their heads together to figure out what to do. And And that's not what happened. Well, not down this neck of the woods, and not from what we saw on the internet. Politicians were very reluctant at first to impose the lockdown. But once they went with it, boom, 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 they all went like dominoes. They all followed each other. And then they thought, oh, that's great, because there were all riots and kickoffs before, and now we've got everyone under voluntary house arrest. So they obviously lingered on, and I don't need to remind everybody of how awful all that was. But the point is, the politicians were following what they thought the public wanted by watching social media, a lot of which are bots. Now, a lot of us didn't like lockdown. That came across on social media. The bots learned, okay, they didn't like that, we back off. We try another way. Now, they have persuaded some people that their political beliefs are so strong and important that people like Nigel Farage are forbidden a bank account, and I'm very glad to see the Prime Minister's looking into that. As far as politics goes, this is not a political channel, but I mean, politically speaking, I am as far from Nigel Farage as you could get, but I would fight for his right to the death, especially to have his bank account, and even worse, it sounds as if members of his own family have also lost their bank accounts. It's not just them. There is a YouTuber, as you all know, Trevor was demonetised, Trevor Cole, last year, and he was never really given a specific reason why. We're told to do better, to learn to do better. How can we learn to do better when we don't know what we've done wrong? I see Daniel Boland this morning scratching his head as to why one of his videos has been put as adult content, and I can see he's living on the edge thinking, well, I don't understand what I did wrong. Now, I think in his case, and Trevor's, they've had human reviewers. Who are these humans? Were they elected? Are they the police? Do they have the right? Now, I know a lot of people could say, well, then it's their platform, they can do what they want. No, I would disagree with that. They are so huge, it's a monopoly. And when you have monopolies, there should be laws to force them into giving people rights and explaining things. Daniel's absolutely right. How do any of us know what we're doing right or wrong if we are not told the reason? Another YouTuber that has been demonetised, Van Man Speaks, Mark. Now, he has said it was a copyright thing, but what he doesn't understand is why he's got to wait 2 months to reapply. He doesn't understand this, and when people don't understand, then it all starts to break down. And I'm seeing more and more and more people are fearful of YouTube. Is it corrupt employees who are taking a backhander off somebody who doesn't like something? Or is it a bot, and they say it's a human reviewer when it actually isn't, and we are already being controlled by AI making decisions? I can give you an example of something that happened to me and Graham a couple of years ago, which was really frightening. As you all know, we've got a house, we have guests in the house, and we were using a platform to rent the house out. That platform was brilliant when it was first launched, but then it just got too big for its own good, and they started using AI. No more human beings. And unfortunately, we had a series of 3 people in our house, 3 different families, who had all found a loophole and how to get the AI to stay in our house and get a full refund. What it was, a lot of people, they only want to stay in La Linea for 1 night because they're catching a flight from Jib the next day. Fair enough, I totally get it. But back in those days, we used to rent the house out minimum 3 days because it is such a lot of work to clean and sort out. Like literally 18 hours of cleaning. So I just thought, I'm not doing that for 1 night. We do now, as a result of this scam. So these particular 3 families had booked, they'd been on holiday somewhere in Spain, come down to La Linea, booked the 3 days. Within the first 24 hours, they had complained, spoken to a bot, said this is unacceptable, oh well, we're going to stay in the house for 1 night, and this platform was refunding them 100%. Well, I tried communicating with the bots, forget it. And they just all the people actually wanted was a refund for the 2 nights, so they just paid for the 1 night and then they catch their flight. But the bot was giving them 100% refund, so I cancelled everybody. I just cancelled completely. I said, I'm not doing it. I am not working for free for anybody. Forget it. And we actually cancelled for 2 years before going to another platform. So they lost us. Because in the end, the bot was talking to us like they owned our house and that we were their servants. And we were there, and they had this irritating thing for me as a host, and also the guests, because I've stayed in other people's properties and I've had the same message. The bot says, tell the host what they did great and tell them what they could do better. The host doesn't want a 5-star review. The host wants your criticism, wants your feedback. You must find something to complain about to make the host happy. Oh my goodness. So, goodbye to that platform. Goodbye. It is a big platform, and it is what it is. It still exists today, but no. We have another way of doing things. We've just found our way around it. We do the one nights for a start, and we found another way around this. But bots do not understand human beings. They do not understand human beings, and they're not there yet, and I hope they never get there. Because imagine when they know psychologically what you will end up with, potentially, is millions or trillions of artificial narcissists, manipulative controllers. That's what we're going to end up with if they really learn how to upset us, how to please us, how to control us. I am very happy to see this morning, thanks to Trevor, that Christopher Boozy's official Twitter bot Sentinel and Spoutable accounts have been suspended. He still has his personal one. He still has his free speech, despite the fact that I have seen him say terrible, terrible, untrue things about other people with absolutely no consequence whatsoever. None whatsoever. I will fight for anybody's free speech, including him, as long as they are within the rules. No bullying, no harassment, no defamation. Even Markle, I would fight for her free speech. The problem is, every time I see her talk, she lies or contradicts herself or misremembers. How can you defend or fight for the rights of people, especially having heard that her and Harry made the late Majesty cry? That's terrible, absolutely terrible. So it's a big thought-provoking thing, and I don't think that without AI we would have these kind of Instagrammers and people like Markle who think they can go out and buy a load of bots. Thank God word is out, and a lot of people now understand that celebrities do artificially pump up their fan base. Thank God Meghan and Harry put that Christopher Boozy on their Netflix documentary, of which they had full editorial control. For the life of me, I cannot understand why big newspapers like the Daily Mail or The Sun or any of the American papers, any newspaper, any journalist, anywhere, why can't you go through Christopher Boozy's old twisted tweets about Yankee Wally and see how he bullied and he admitted he made her a target, and hold Harry and Meghan accountable? Why do you endorse and support a man who's done these things? Why are the mainstream journalists not doing it? Because although mainstream media is losing the battle against social media, and especially people like all of us on YouTube, they are still an important ingredient and a free press. And that's what they should be there doing, questioning. You pull out some of those tweets, they are horrible. Contact the Duchess of Sussex. I believe she has screenshots of everything. Everything. So I'm having to do this video in 2 parts because while I was talking, perhaps it's because I'm criticising AI. I jest not. Because they listen to our words, there are trigger words. My phone just stopped recording. Stopped recording. And this AI controls in our phones. They're listening to us. If you have a smart TV, it's listening to you, like suggestions. They listen to conversations that you're having in the privacy of your own home, and then you suddenly find suggestions on subjects that you have never actually searched or looked up. Have you ever had that? Graham and I have had that, where we've had a private conversation, the TV's been off, well, it's got the standby light, and we've been talking about something bizarre and whacked out that we've never discussed before in our lives, and then we forget about it the next day, and then suggestions come up. That is the height of how they're infiltrating our lives. So I'm making a video criticising them, these mathematical horrors, and off goes the thing. Incredible. My phone didn't turn off. It just, you know, like I'd hit the button, stop recording. I really loathe them. They're not cute and cuddly and friendly like Crichton on Red Dwarf. And I love that show. And years ago I used to say, I'd love to have a Crichton, you know, as I get older. I'll have a butler and he'll be really funny and cute, but I'm not sure that's ever going to come true. I hope not, actually. So, yes, to continue what I was saying, the Duchess of Sussex, I believe, has got screenshots. I'm sure I distinctly remember her saying, if anybody's got screenshots, send them all to me, and she's put them in a safe place. Or just go through his tweets. I don't think he's deleted them. He has affiliated himself with other trolls that have equally said and done, and in fact even worse and more disgusting behaviour. Journalists, contact Harry, contact Meghan, contact their PR people there, contact her talent agency, and then you can say at the end of the article, they were contacted for comment, and they didn't comment or they did comment. Hold her accountable. You are the free press. That's what you're there for. The free press, the cash, the money that we hold in our hands, we need to hold on to them for dear life. Because the credit cards and the banks and all the AI controlling artificial money that doesn't actually exist anywhere, it's just all on a computer, as Nigel and many others have found out to their cost, can just be snipped for any reason. Oh, I didn't like what you said on Facebook. Oh, I didn't like what you said on Twitter. And yet people like Boozy are allowed to say what they like on Twitter with absolutely no consequence. And I would also suggest to Boozy and a lot of people who think like him, imagine if the powers that be switch and one day you are on the receiving end of this. You won't like it one bit. So we need the free press and we need them to do their bloody job. Please, I beg of you, especially the Daily Mail. If any of you out there know anyone, or if you yourselves work at the Daily Mail, please dig into Christopher Boozy, pull out his worst tweets, pull out his victims, and ask, if Meghan and Harry are so full of kindfulness and compassionateness and kindness, why did they endorse and have a man like that on their Netflix docu-series? I beg of you. Anyway, rant over. I just watched it back and the way it cut off, because at first I thought maybe I can leave that up, but then I watched it and I thought no, because they'll all think, what the hell? Maybe she threw her phone in the water. Speaking of the water, my little submarine is going to be, I've got a little toy submarine coming, it's going to be arriving today. So I will be doing a video later and playing with the submarine and discussing my ideas for an ROV and how the remote control is going to work and stuff like that. So anyone who's into that kind of thing, I'll be doing a video later because, okay, part three. I'm actually grateful to the AI for doing this, and I'm absolutely certain that's what it is. I've just been through all the settings and everything's fine. There was another point I was going to make about the worldwide illness that everybody had, and it did occur to me at the time. A huge transmitter of like illnesses, I'm not going to say the word, it's like Daniel says, you don't even know if you're allowed to say a word or not. But the illness, a big transmitter is cash, money, cash. And so I think that part of the AI's ambition is to get us as a cashless society. That is a big thing for them. And I think they thought that would be a good way. I know this all sounds conspiratorial, but I mean really, certain people have been pushing for cashless for a long time, and it's so dangerous. And then they realise we don't like, oh, this isn't working on the masses, okay, we back away. I just forgot to make that point before. But all I was going to say is that we'll be making another video later today. Don't know if we'll be making a video tomorrow or Thursday because we're going to be in the hospital. And yes, everything is going well, don't worry about that. And also, thank you all very, very much for listening and watching to all my nonsense. I know sometimes a lot of you say in the comments, thank you for going to the trouble to make videos. Not at all, I love it, and it's a bit of a release actually, because most of my life I've been talking to myself. Literally, I've been doing it for years. While I'm cleaning, I just talk to myself. So it's just wonderful to have you guys as a release valve and to hear your thoughts and opinions and your free speech. And yes, the free press, they are not controlled by AI. Not yet. Not yet. So please, Daily Mail, I beg of you, do your job. As always, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you in the comments below for your free speech, and long may that last.